Okay, what if I told you that there was a way to dramatically improve the behavior in your classroom by up to 25%? Anyone interested? I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but hear me out. Studies have shown that in a classroom of about 20 students, 5 of them may be experiencing some sort of anxiety disorder. That's 1/4 of your classroom. Being able to recognize these 5 students and develop an educational strategy that will help them could dramatically improve the culture in your classroom community. So, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, 25% of students, children, experience anxiety disorder. Unrecognized, this may leave you feeling a little like this. Here you are in September, and by this time of the year, in December, you're feeling a little frazzled and undone. So there is hope, though. We need to develop a plan for these students. How many of you have met this guy? I know that I have. We probably all have. As adults, there are millions of things for us to feel nervous and worried and uptight and anxious about. And that's a normal part of life. Um, think back to when you were in school. Maybe you were an anxious test taker. For me, it's presentations. I get nervous standing in front of a group. As adults, we worry about everything, right? Finances, our family, our children, our health, relationships, all of these things, and that's normal. But for people with an anxiety disorder, those everyday normal worries can become debilitating. Think about how anxiety makes you feel as an adult. Here's a great picture that I found to represent that. We feel, you know? So think about now how that feels to a child when you can't really understand it and you certainly can't name it, but it could look a little like this. You may be feeling overwhelmed. You may feel dysphoric, that general feeling of nothing in your life is going right. You may be irritable. You may feel fatigue. You may feel angry, unfocused, frustrated, agitated. This is how they're feeling on the inside. But to you, the only thing they may be able to express is, I have a headache, or I have a tummy ache, or I just can't be in the classroom right now. So let's take a look again at these faces of anxiety. I know that when I look at them, anxious is not the first descriptor that I think of. I may think instead of defiant, belligerent, um, oppositional, not listening, disruptive, temperamental, even willful. Not that those faces don't exist, but you can see how easily that they might be confused with an anxious child. The problem is that we sometimes see the smoke but miss the fire. In fact, Dr. Laura Prager has said that anxiety is one of those diagnoses that is a great masquerader. And what she means by that is that the symptoms can be so similar to other behaviors that may be willful or that could come with ADHD or ODD that it's often difficult to diagnose exactly what's happening. And so my first note would be, and I feel like this is almost unnecessary to say to a group of professionals who've been in the business as long as you have, but seek professional evaluation first if you feel like there's a serious issue for a child. We aren't doctors, but there are things that we can do. So here are some what to watch for. Again, we talked about those physical maladies that a child may be expressing to you. Those headaches, those tummy aches, a child who's not sleeping well at night and comes in tired, a general sense of malaise, that there's just no excitement for life. There are things called body-focused repetitive behaviors, and that may exhibit as nose picking or ear or hair pulling or picking at their skin or nail biting. Anything like that could be an indicator of a child feeling anxious. You may see behaviors of avoiding work or disrupting other children. You may see a general lack of focus or daydreaming. They may be off in their own world. You may see a child who asks a lot of questions. In fact, that may be what they're doing when they're disrupting another child, because they seek a lot of reassurance to find out, what are we supposed to be doing? They don't want to get it wrong. They're worrying about it. And you may see just overall meltdown. So, because it's difficult to diagnose and because it looks like a lot of other things, what do? You may be saying to yourself, but I'm not a doctor, right? So what can I do? Well, there are some simple things that I've put together through my research, and I think that you're going to find them helpful. So I've put together what I call the peaceful picnic. Research has shown that there are 4 areas that are helpful to a child who's feeling anxious. The first one is calming breathing. And so in our basket, I've put together a few things, and you can do this in your classroom as well, that help with calming breathing. So you might put together, or you might get a little pinwheel. We made this one ourselves out of construction paper, a tack, and a pencil. So the experience that the child is looking for is that deep breath in and the calming breath out, to see how long they can get the pinwheel to spin. Another activity for calming breathing is just a tiny bottle of bubbles. Again, they're looking for that calming breath in, and those are little ones. Who doesn't love a good bubble? And then another thing that you might put in your basket are some essential oils. Lavender is a great calming scent. With some cotton balls, you might choose a citrus or a sandalwood, something that you think would be refreshing and calming to the student. A little cotton ball, and they can just smell in that oil scent and find that calming inside of them. A second area that helps with children with anxiety is visualization. And so I've put together a few pictures. You can choose these, things that you find calming or peaceful. They might be landscapes or puppies or kittens or a happy family or a play structure. Anything that you think would help a child to feel happy and calm and at peace. In terms of visualization, you could put in just a gift-wrapped package. It doesn't have to be anything inside. The activity is for the child to visualize what's inside. They can imagine, if I could get any gift in the world, what would it be? What would be inside my package? And what would happen then? It helps to recenter and refocus the child and bring them to a happier, calmer place inside themselves. One of the things that we experience with anxiety is all over muscle tension. And so you could put in some simple stress balls, and the activity is just to tense and release, and tense and release. This helps the muscles come back to a neutral position and calms the overall body. Another activity that's helpful is mindfulness activities. And so you might have a basket of stones that the student can stack. It brings them present and into this moment and helps them to refocus themselves and just feel positive about the experience that they're having. You might put in a maze or something like that. Again, it brings them present into that moment, into a mindful activity, and helps them center and refocus. After you've introduced materials like this into your classroom in your peaceful picnic, then you can add other materials like a little writing board where children can draw a face of how they're feeling, and then help to identify for them, what feeling is that? Is it agitated? Is it irritable? Is it fatigue? And then a little worry journal where they're going to take a page in the journal, label at the top what it is that they're worrying about, what specific things about that might make them anxious. And then once they have that down, you can brainstorm together things that they might be able to do to help out with those individual things. This is a simple activity to put together a basket like this, but if you can help those 5 children that we talked about at the beginning to refocus, to recenter, to calm themselves, you will have improved the behavior and the culture in your classroom. You have nothing to lose and 25% to gain. Thank you very much.